Penn State's Drew Shelton is the most underrated 2026 tackle. Find out why he could end up being the first selected come next April. Ryan, I haven't seen anyone talking about Penn State's Drew Shelton, but when I flipped on the tape, I was blown away. Why do folks need to know more about this guy?
Well, I think he reminds me a whole lot of Christian Darrisaw a few years coming out, Joe. I remember before that season, I had watched Christian Darrisaw when he was at Virginia Tech, and I wrote his name down because there was a lot of athletic traits there, right? And there was potential to be a riser, but nobody really knew a lot about him, and no one really knew that he would have that quite of an ascension and now become one of the best starting left tackles in the NFL for the Minnesota Vikings. I see a lot of parallels there with Drew Shelton. The young man, I think, really has all the physical talent, both from a flexibility, foot speed, developmental upside from a physical perspective as well, from a power profile perspective. This kid kind of checks a lot of boxes that I think could make him one of the biggest risers in this class overall.
Yeah, I think that the big part that really caught my attention was just seeing the movement skills, the way that he was so fluidly able to mirror. And there was one clip I pulled that I posted on Twitter where he pulls from his left tackle spot and gets to the second level in the Notre Dame game. He's picking up linebackers, defensive backs, and just kind of clearing this path for, it was either Katron Allen or Nick Singleton. He was just running over and picking up speed and able to do so easily. That to me is always the starting point when we're talking about an offensive tackle that is capable of going in the top 10. The dude's got to be able to move. We can work on improving the hand placement, which does need work. We can work on improving his technique, his body placement in the run game, all of those things. But when you can sink like he can, and you can also move in space the way that he can, there is so much to continue to progress towards him becoming an elite offensive tackle in the NFL.
I think anybody that watches Penn State every Saturday kind of looks at the some of the stuff they do just from they're a little bit outside the box under Andy Koltonecki, their offensive coordinator.
Yes.
So they're going to do some nasty split stuff. They're going to do some stuff where they're motioning Drew Shelton across the formation and kind of letting him get the early momentum for a kick out block. He moves all over the place. He has a lot of different alignments to him. But I think the key thing that people miss on just some kind of that uniqueness is that they wouldn't be able to do some of that stuff if Drew Shelton wasn't a really good athlete. Why would you want to put him in motion and let him be able to use all over the place, utilize that versatility if he wasn't a really athletic and diverse movement player, right? So he brings that stuff to the table. But I just think overall, I actually remember him a little bit when Olu Fashanu was there, Joe, obviously a former first-round pick out of Penn State, the left tackle. When he was banged up a little bit, Shelton played a little bit. And I wrote down number 66 on my notebook because I'm a weirdo. And I just kind of tucked his name away to let's just watch him in a couple years. And his first year, I thought you saw monumental growth from game one to the Notre Dame game of that season. I think that you really saw him start to settle into his own. The game started slowing down for him. And overall, he's 6'5", 310 pounds, really easy mover. This is a pure offensive tackle on the next level with the movement skills he has. And I think that he is just starting to figure out how good he can be.
I also think you brought up there when Fashanu left, there was kind of this, not uneasiness, but uncertainty on who was going to be the next big lineman for this Penn State team. I wasn't expecting that somebody was going to emerge like this, and Shelton was able to do so. Just a quick highlight on his background. Coming out of Downingtown West in Pennsylvania in the 2022 class, he was the 122nd ranked prospect per the 247 Sports Composite, the 12th ranked offensive tackle in the class, and the third prospect in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, we just talked about Fashanu for a second, and these guys are going to be talked about side by side because Shelton is the guy after Fashanu, but he was actually the more highly recruited kid, Joe, right? His raw tools might not be quite as high as what Olu's were, but he has just, I think, a better all-around profile in terms of, I think he's going to end up checking more boxes because I think his physical profile, combined with the movement skills, combined with the technical prowess we saw year one to hopefully a big ascension year two as a starter, I think all those things are really going to be one of those things where eventually we're going to be looking at an offensive tackle prospect that just kind of does everything really well, right? There isn't a massive hole in his game. I'm excited to see him in year two out of Penn State because we saw the year one, what it could look like under Koltonecki. I have the opinion, Joe, that this Penn State offense is going to take a huge jump from 2024 to 2025. Second year under Andy Koltanecki, bringing back all that talent. And I think Drew Shelton and his ascension is going to be a big reason why.
Folks, comment below who you think is the best offensive tackle in the 2026 draft. Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.